A lot of people I know that follow Star Wars are super excited about Andor coming out. And I'm on the fence. I'm ambivalent about it. I don't care either way. The first season was not my favorite. I stopped and restarted watching it 3 times because I lost interest. But I did finish it. I did like Rogue One. And I'm just hoping that since it's getting closer to where Rogue One starts, that it will start to get or pique my interest. I know tons of people that are super excited about the second season. Well, it's come out that this season is like super duper expensive. I mean, even more so than the Acolyte. So I have an article I'm going to read with you about this, and I want to know what your thoughts and feelings are about it. But first, if you're enjoying my content, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it, and like the video. And also, if you hear noise in the background, that's my Stormtrooper helmet that's being 3D printed, and it's almost done. It's got like 4% left. And on my previous 2 videos, I showed like the beginning and like kind of the middle part, and I'll show you what it looks like now. This is it right here. It's upside down, and that's the back side of the helmet. I don't think I can get really much closer to it, maybe. Or you can see inside. So once it's done, I'll pull it off and I will show it to you. I'm pretty excited because the first one I did, you can see it back there, the white one, it got wonky. The settings, something happened where the top half kind of shifted over and it just looked really bad. And I'll do a comparison because that one I did with the helmet right side up, and this one I did with it upside down, which somebody told me would be better. So I'm excited about that, but that's not why we're here. Let me pull up the Andor article for you. So it says Disney's $645 million Andor budget shows how it's lost control of Star Wars. And this is from Forbes.com. The future of Disney Star Wars remains unclear, but this latest bit of news must produce a reckoning inside the company of what exactly they're doing here and how much longer this can possibly continue. Fellow Forbes contributor Carolyn Reed has reported via Disney's own disclosure that the total cost of Andor on Disney Plus will be a stunning $645 million between 2 seasons, with $290 million spent on season 2. Again, this is straight out of Disney's own financials due to disclosure rules in the UK. Your initial thought may be, well, Andor is great, so surely Disney must think it's worth spending that much. But Disney is not in the charity business, and despite the fact that, yes, you could certainly argue that Andor is actually the best thing Disney's entire Star Wars era has produced, it has nowhere near the viewership that would justify those kinds of costs. As recent as last year, Andor was reportedly the least watched Disney Plus Star Wars project, behind all the others starring more names like Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Boba Fett, and the OG Mando and Grogu. At baseline, Andor is about one of the dudes from Rogue One whom we know is going to die. Of course, the show is truly excellent, but again, the show did not pull viewership that would justify this kind of budget. I'm not sure it would if it was the #1 show on Netflix, pulling in billions of minutes watched. These numbers are out of control. After Andor aired, The Acolyte then became the least watched Disney Star Wars show and was canceled for the plainly stated reason that its viewership did not justify the costs. The show reportedly cost $230 million for its first season. Now we have Skeleton Crew, which may again now be the least watched Disney Plus Star Wars series, but still with a budget of $120 million. It remains to be seen if it will be renewed for season 2, but it does not seem likely at this point as the show is not charting in streaming top 10 lists, despite topping Disney Plus' own internal one. Disney has veered so hard into almost nothing but streaming Star Wars content that it's completely lost control of the situation with these balloon budgets and viewership that simply cannot under any circumstances justify that. Disney was scared off making more theatrical films after Solo underperformed, but its streaming run has produced really only one major hit, The Mandalorian, but a string of high-profile, highly expensive failures more recently. As far as we know, only Ahsoka is getting a second season, likely 3 years after the first one aired, and Andor only got a season 2 in the first place because the deal was secured ahead of time. You can imagine that the show may have been canceled with that budget and that viewership had that original deal not been in place. I remember hearing some fans say that Disney needs its Agatha all along for Star Wars, a very cheap series that performed well, a departure from most Marvel projects. Some replies saying that was Andor, given that it was very grounded compared to other series that have sprawling lightsaber fights and frequent space battles. Instead, 2 seasons are costing $2/3 of $1 billion. As much as we all appreciate Disney throwing money into the ether so we can get a good series such as Andor, this cannot go on for much longer on its Star Wars side, and I have to believe we're going to see a flip back to films and away from so many huge budgeted streaming productions soon enough. Though it's having plenty of trouble getting those projects off the ground on the side too. The only actual movie that's coming out soon, The Mandalorian Grogu, a spin-off of its only mega hit streaming series. Disney has not yet responded to requests for comment. So what do you think? I mean, people were upset when The Acolyte came out and said they spent $230 million on one season. This is more. I mean, a lot of people like the series, but it's going to have to perform, and also it's going to have great direction and great script writing. I hope it's a lot better than the first season of Andor. I mean, like they said in the article, Andor wasn't watched. And then when The Acolyte came along, it took the #1 spot of the least watched Star Wars series. So it's going to be a big toss-up. I'm going to watch Andor. I'm going to see what it's all about and see how they get to the part where they show up for Rogue One. It'll be interesting to see if a lot of the characters from Rogue One show up in the Andor series, season 2. But what are your thoughts about spending all that money? I just think about when I talked to Roger Christian, who worked on the original Star Wars, how it was a shoestring budget. It was like the poorest made movie, and they came up with such great special effects, and they did everything, on the wire. They just made up things like, Roger made the lightsabers, he made the Millennium Falcon. They just went all out. They had such imagination and creation, and the movie was a smashing success. Why can't they do that with these shows without spending hundreds of millions of dollars? Like they said, $250 million. That's just ridiculous. So tell me what you think. I think it's crazy. But like I said, I'll watch the show just to see. But if you wondered why The Acolyte might have been canceled, I know why, and probably you know why, but maybe some people don't. I have a video here, and it talks about why The Acolyte was canceled. How was it canceled? I don't know. Watch the video. And remember, the Force will be with you always.